is over. It's time for Gutbuster Radio. The Legend T James Logan talks with independent pro wrestling stars from around the world.
Hey fans, welcome to another edition of Gutbuster Radio. I have a chance today to talk to a girl that I've already talked to her once on the phone. We saw her promoting the CWE Tour. I'm talking about the last pure athlete, Jordynne Grace. Jordynne, first of all, welcome to Alberta.
Thank you so much. Happy to be here.
Now, has it been any kind of culture shock from where you're from coming up on this tour?
Not so much a culture shock. I mean, Canada pretty much has the same layout as the United States. I've been all over the United States, so kind of has the same feel. Just the way people talk is a little bit different.
Which is so ironically funny for us because we go to the States and people ask me, "What's your accent?" I'm like, "What?"
Yeah, like I hear that a lot, and they say a wee bit a lot, which is like kind of weird to me.
And I noticed one thing that Canadians do is we do this yes but no.
Yeah, they do.
I don't know why we do that.
Yeah, you definitely do that. I've been like in a car with like 4 Canadians for like 6-hour drives the past week, and it's just been like crazy. I think I'm starting to talk like y'all a little bit.
The y'all just killed it. The y'all just killed it.
Sorry a lot.
Anyways, Jordynne, you're here on the CWE Tour, first time coming up in Canada, and I believe you have an opponent. You talked about this. This is like the most matches in a row with an opponent that's got, well, first of all, it's Kelly Klein of ROH Flame. You've obviously got to be learning a lot from this.
Yes, for sure. Especially just doing different matches every single night is kind of like crazy with the same person.
Now, have you found it? Is it really getting the creative juices flowing, or is this? Have you reached the wall yet where you're like, okay, we can start mailing it in?
No, I think it's more about like perfecting each and everything. So if like one thing gets messed up one night, then the next night, you can actually go ahead and perfect it. So it's been good in that sense.
Now, if I was riding on the bus right now and sat next to you, I would not think in the world this is a girl who's going to put on tights and beat up another girl. How on earth did you get interested in wrestling? What drew you in?
Actually, my mom was like, okay, so it's kind of a long story, but I'll just try and make it short. My mom got a divorce, blah, 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 and then she met a guy online who was actually a wrestler in Austin, Texas, and they started dating, and eventually they got married, and he was like training to be a wrestler. He doesn't wrestle anymore because he like really sucked. He was like a backyard wrestler. So I went to the training facility that he went to, and I started my training there, and eventually like within like 3 months of training, I got contacted by a promotion in Mexico, and I actually ended up like going to Mexico my first year of being in wrestling and like training and working shows there.
Well,
so
that's amazing.
Yeah, that's kind of how I got into it.
And what draws you into wrestling? What is it that you enjoy about it?
I like performing in front of people. Like I really liked theater a lot when I was in high school, and that was like one of the big things that I liked to do. And I also liked amateur wrestling. So I guess this kind of like combines the two of those things.
Because you are a smaller girl, and I mean, this is a physical sport. I mean, I'm looking over right now. There's a pretty girl with a giant bruise on her arm that I'm going, ouch, looking at that.
It's actually funny that you mentioned this. I was at the gym today, and I was in the locker room, just got out of the shower, and this girl comes up to me, and she's like, "Are you okay?" And she was like, I was like, "Yeah, why?" And she was like, "Are you sure? Do you need someplace safe?" And I was like, no, it's nothing like that. Then I ended up like having a 15-minute conversation with her and just like proving that I was basically a wrestler, like showing her GIFs. And she was like, "Oh, okay."
Now, that is so funny because even the last time I went to the hospital, the nurse looked at me, she goes, "I have to ask, are you being physically abused at home?" And I'm like, do I look like the kind of guy who would be physically abused at home?
It's funny, though, because she said she was a nurse, and so that's why she was asking. So
that isn't a question that happens in the States a lot?
Every time I have a bruise, like one time I had like a huge black swollen eye, and people were like in the grocery store staring at me. My boyfriend, John, like he'd be with me, and I would mess with him a lot. I know I shouldn't be doing this.
Flinching and stuff.
Yeah, I would like, every time he would like go to pick up something, I'd be like, "No, please." He hated me.
Folks, this girl is a handful. This is going to be an interesting interview. So, okay, going to Mexico, how old were you there?
I was 14. So, yeah.
14 years old and you're in Mexico.
So this is a funny story, actually. So I get to the airport, right? I think I flew out of San Antonio airport. My boyfriend was with me at the time, and he was actually an adult. And they were like, "Oh, you can't go you're under 18. You can't go to Mexico without parental consent." And I was like, "Well, my boyfriend's with me. Can he sign it?" And they were just like, I guess. And so he ended up actually signing the thing for me, and I got to go to Mexico that way.
Now, that has had to be a culture shock, being immersed in a place with a totally different language and such a different culture.
Yeah, that actually, I had taken 3 years of Spanish, but it's nothing compared to actually going there. They talk so fast, I barely understood anything. The only thing that I know now is how to ask for the Wi-Fi password. That's it. That's all I got from that.
Now, obviously the style of wrestling there is very much different from what is up north of the border. What was the adjustment to learning that kind of, the lucha libre style?
Okay, well, obviously, I was only a year in at that point, and so...
It's not quite alien yet, it's all new stuff coming in.
Yeah, it wasn't... it was just, it was crazy. I would get there 2 hours before the show started, and these girls who were my opponents would get there, literally the match before we were supposed to go out, because I was the main event a lot, because I was, the only American there, and the girls who I was supposed to be in the main event supposed to be in the main event with would come in, and they would be talking, and I wouldn't understand what they were saying, obviously. And mostly it was just on the fly because I didn't understand what they were saying. I'm sure they knew exactly what they wanted to do in the match. And so we just ended up going out there and they just beat my ass for a good 15 minutes.
But obviously it was something that you, a great thing to learn and probably something you really glad you did.
Yeah, I learned how to, work on the right side. So,
which you had to erase totally when you came back.
Yeah, exactly. So when I learned how to roll a lot too. That's a big thing there because they use boxing rings instead of mats with rings with actual mats. Yeah, it hurts a lot more. So luchadors they don't really take a lot of bumps. They just do a lot of rolls and then sell it like it's a bump.
Now, how many years have you been doing this as an actual wrestler? I mean, you started, you're around 14, you're starting to get things. And how many years now are we in?
I'm 21 now, so 7 years.
7 years. And you still have that enthusiasm every day to get in there? Maybe not every day.
I feel like I'm a young, grizzled vet. I know it's funny to say. I guess Cody Rhodes was actually talking to my boyfriend John in a Ring of Honor show, and he was like, "Oh yeah, she reminds me a lot of myself because when I was younger, I used to have the exact same mentality." But I just I mean, just this whole experience is crazy because I never thought my life would take me here.
Well, one thing I'm going to give props to you because sometimes when we have people come up for the tours, I'll go on. I may never heard of you before, and I'll go on and look you up and read some stuff so that when I interview you, I don't sound like a total dork. But I'd actually heard about you before you came up and heard some good praises about you, especially involving some shows down in Florida. We talked about that on the phone, and to my surprise, you are getting you're starting to be recognized in the women's scene right now in the States. What is that like feeling? You know it's there. Yeah,
I feel like it's slowly but surely happening. I just feel like over the past couple years, I've changed a lot of things about myself, just the style of wrestling I do, and I've changed my gear, obviously, into a singlet, and I have more a power lifter style now, so I do a lot of power moves. And I think that's helped me a lot, and obviously I've been training with some of the best wrestlers in the world. So that's helping a lot, obviously. Yeah, I just think it's very slowly picking up steam, and eventually I might get somewhere. So it's actually funny you mentioned this. Actually, we're doing a tour in Canada now. I go back and I do. You heard of WWR?
Yes.
Beyond, right? Okay, so I do the WWR show, and the next day I go to Japan. So I'm going to Japan for 10 days, and I'm doing some stuff there. And then the day I fly back, and then the day after I fly back, I go to South America. Wow. So yeah, it's like a whirlwind the next few weeks.
One question that I have to ask is, obviously the end goal of most wrestlers is want to be in the WWE, but that itself is a whole different kind of wrestling. Right now you're in a very physical, and obviously this is something you enjoy. Do you want to do that more, or is it you're looking for the brass ring up there? What do you want for the future of you? My goal right now is just to wrestle as long as I possibly can, and just make as much money as I possibly can in that period of time, because I feel like I'm never going to get into WWE. I don't have, the right kind of body for that. I may get into one of these little tournaments that they have, but I don't think I'm ever going to be on a signed long-term contract unless I just lose a ton of weight. When I go to WWE for extra work, all the girls there are the complete opposite of me. They're fucking 10 feet tall and really beautiful and skinny, and I'm the exact opposite. So I don't think I'm ever gonna make it there, but hopefully I'll get into a company where I can just
make money and then just live my life.
Well, you know, there has been quite a change in the look and the approach of women's wrestling over the last 5 years. And you may say that maybe 5 years ago you may not have had a place, but let's face it, the face of wrestling is really evolving in WWE. That, you know, there's not to say in 2 years from now you may be the prototypical wrestler that they're looking at, as they're moving away a lot from the diva approach.
Well, I mean, maybe you're right, but just from going there and seeing, you know, the main girls there, I mean, what main girl that's there right now, besides from NXT, like Raw and SmackDown, like worked the indies forever? I mean, Sasha Banks wasn't on the indies forever. She got picked up, like, what, within, like, a couple years?
Becky Lynch. She worked actually up here quite a few years.
Oh, did she? Okay, well, I didn't know that, but yeah, there's that. So hopefully there's some hope. There's a spark of light there.
Well, it seems the emphasis really has become more on, and even in men's wrestling is, that lost art is coming back. That physicality is something that's starting to be valued more. And that's got to feel good for a person like you who really has been into the physicality and into the wrestling aspect, that there might be a chance to be a part of even more.
Yeah, I think you're completely right about that. Like, you know, they're signing guys that are like have been on the indies for years and years and years. So, like you say, in a couple of years, hopefully, someone like me will be able to be in WWE and be, you know, over with the fans.
Well, you did mention NXT. That even seems even more open.
Yeah. You're right about that. And then the tournament, which, you know, is just, it's not a contract thing, but it's a way to get seen and make money. So hopefully that next year that'll happen. I was actually told that my name was brought up for it, but you know, politics and stuff like that, everybody's pushing for someone, and not enough people are pushing for me, obviously. So, you know. Now,
if I'm a paying fan and Jordynne Grace is on the card and I come in and pay my money, what am I going to see when you come out?
I just think you're going to see a lot of like a hard-hitting style. You're going to see a lot of just entertaining wrestling. I have a little bit of a blend of styles, so I do a little bit of technical wrestling, obviously, in the beginning of a match, just to feel my opponent out, and then later on, when I'm trying to actually win the match, you know, I got a lot of power in me. I'm really small, but I have a lot in me.
But you know what? And you definitely have the opponent tonight who's going to give you a rough style, because Kelly Klein does not pull punches either.
No, obviously she does not, as I point to my bruise, yeah.
Fans, maybe if you see her on the video promo later, she might cover it up, I don't know, but take a glance at the...
check it out on Instagram. I have a picture up there of it.
Speaking of which, if fans are coming out and seeing you the first time, or if they're seeing your matches for the first time, they're wondering, how do I buy merchandise? How do I follow Jordynne Grace? What is your social media stuff that you want to throw out there today?
I have a pro wrestling tees, and it's under Jordynne Grace. All of my social media is under Jordynne Grace. It's spelled JORDYNNE. So I know it's kind of a crazy way to spell it, but that's how you do it.
It's unique.
Yeah, that's how you do it. And then I also, if you want to email me, jordan.grace@gmail.com. I do sell autographed pictures through there.
And bookers out there, if they're looking to bring you into the area, the best way to get a hold of you?
The best way to get a hold of me is probably through email. So the same email, jordan.grace@gmail.com.
And is there anywhere you're not going to take a booking?
I probably will never work in Mexico again. Honestly, I'm sorry. Unless it's for like AAA or CMLL or some big promotion, but...
Well, you know, Savio, I've been talking to Savio Vega. There's a girl here you might want to look at, too. Puerto Rico might be interesting, too.
Yeah, right? That would be awesome.
Anyways, you know what? I want to thank you for taking the time to talk with us, and wish you the best of luck. You were a fun girl to talk with, and tonight I'm going to be excited to see what the match is going to look like. Any last thing you want to throw out to fans out there?
No, just I hope you guys, whenever you see me at a show, just come up. Don't be shy. Come talk to me. That's it.
Gutbuster Radio is produced by From the Second Row Productions. For show notes, links, and other great independent pro wrestling radio shows, visit our website at www.secondrow.ca. Executive producer for Gutbuster Radio is Thomas Little. Gutbuster Radio is hosted by the Legend T James Logan. Gutbuster Radio is copyrighted and cannot be used in whole or in part without express permission from the Second Row Productions. Sharing is okay via our website or through our Facebook page. Don't forget to like our Facebook page at From the Second Row. Post-production services are provided by Brass Media Canada, who specialize in web content creation. Let Brass Media Canada put you and your customers into conversation mode. Find out more at www.brassmedia.ca. From the Second Row Productions and Gutbuster Radio, would like to thank the independent pro wrestling stars who take time to talk to us. Show your support for independent pro wrestling by attending live shows wherever you are. Always remember, you can play football, soccer, hockey, and rugby, but you can't play wrestling.